What's up, Buttercups? Welcome to Mean Age Daydream with me, Brian McWilliams. I apologize. I'm coming in so late and so hot because I've just had a day of hell. It's so stressful to the point where I forgot that StreamYard did this crazy crap where they don't. It's like I hit something and now it's in a square instead of the full screen. It's really aggravating. I didn't have time before the show to mess with it and correct it. So I apologize, guys. It is what it is. But we are here. We're together. We can be thankful. I don't know how many people are even going to watch this show, this late breaking show, because I don't know how many of you have kids out there that are like me, where your kids have just been off school for the whole week, which seems abusive if you're paying for public schooling and you have to work and you're paying for daycare and all these other things. And look, I don't want universal anything, to be very clear. My daycare was open Monday, Tuesday, because we chose a daycare with our money, our hard spent money that is open. The public schools, and I don't remember this ever growing up, ever, closed all week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Now, when I was in school back in PA, I remember getting a half day on Wednesday, and then you got Thursday and Friday off. To expect people, especially in today's environment where we have been bent over a barrel by these special interests, by the inflationary processes, by regulations, by massive spending overseas, by COVID bailouts, where everything cost 75% more than it did 10 years ago. The public school teachers are like, we don't care. Sorry. Yeah, we know you have to work. We know you have to work. We don't care. And now we're going to strike a year and a half from now for higher wages and add more administrative staff that do nothing. And meanwhile, get out there, try to get your job done, try to do work, try to make money while your kids are home. And there's no camps open either. I tried to put my kid in camp. No camps. So I'm frustrated. I'm angry, but I am here for you people, even if it's late. And I have my earbuds in because my kids are outside and I've tried not to be distracted. They may interrupt me. My wife had to go because we're going out of town. She has to go drop the dog off at daycare. Kids are here. Who knows what's going to happen? Wacky show. Anyway, welcome, guys. And I do want to remind you, by the way, top of the show, don't forget Woke Word Wars. It's out. It's here. This amazing card game. It has 500 cards. It has 20 trump cards, 100 question cards, 400 answer cards. It's awesome. You can get it within 2 days. Please do check it out. Buy it. It's on Amazon. I linked to it in the show notes. It's fun. What's hilarious is it's fun beyond just conservatives or libertarians. I played it the last 2 weeks with my hyper liberal as you could get, friends and family. Loved it. Loved everything about it. So what can I say? Okay, let's get into the show. Formally, I want to introduce the dumbest legislation I've ever seen in my entire life to you. It is called the Crown Act, and it was ushered in and signed into law by Pennsylvania Governor Shapiro, who was bandied about, by the way, as a potential running mate to Kamala Harris. And the rumor is that she didn't go with Buttigieg because he was gay, and she didn't go with Shapiro because he's a Jew. So I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm saying this is what I heard. Let me see. I'm going to take these. Now I'm going to put them back in. Too annoying. So Shapiro signs this legislation. It's called the Crown Act into law. And I'm just going to play this video so you can enjoy, along with all of us, how idiotically unnecessary, stupid, and honestly impossible to implement this actually is. So here's the video. Let's get it going.
Today, when I sign the Crown Act into law,
all right,
that will be
you go, girl.
That will be the next step in making good on that promise of bringing about real freedom for all Pennsylvanians.
This public policy campaign is my brainchild. In a nationwide effort,
I just want to say, calling this a brainchild is like calling RFK's brain worm a brainchild. Exactly the same. A terrible thing that ate away your brain, and yet somehow you managed to survive with it. Okay.
I have led since 2018. determining it was necessary to change the law to help redress the long-standing and problematic practice of racial discrimination in the form of hair discrimination. I subsequently developed the national legislative, social impact, and coalition building strategies for this movement because for too long, a myopic notion of professionalism and Eurocentric standards of beauty have perpetuated racial inequity and exclusion. Too many Black children have been suspended and missed what should be valuable instruction time because their hair, worn in ways that are aligned with their racial identity, have been deemed a violation of school rules.
I'm sure that is possible. And a violation of school rules could mean what? I don't know. Does that mean you're not allowed to have an 8-foot tall afro because other kids can't see past it? Does that mean that you can't have, I don't know, dreadlocks that are past a certain length? I don't know what that means. I will say I find it hard to believe that this is a major problem that's impacting a massive amount of students. I think a bigger problem that's impacting a mass amount of students in the education system would be the fact that during COVID, all these students failed out. And then also during George Floyd, they said that Black students didn't have to take tests, didn't have to show up, didn't have to attend, excused horrible behavior. That to me is a bigger issue if we're talking about actual outcomes than one kid in a million somehow violating a school's rules on hair. And by the way, I doubt those school rules on hair are specifically about Black or white. I'm sure it's just you're not allowed to have hair past a certain point because they feel like it's a danger, right? Like a girl with long blonde hair, you're probably not allowed to have a hair past a certain point because it'll get stuck indoors. It's a hazard. They don't want to have the liability. And this chick is probably fighting to say you can have hair that's down past your ass if it's dreadlocks. That's just my guess. I don't know.
I am a child growing up in the Virgin Islands with natural hair. Natural hair has been braids, twists, locks all my life. That's all I know. As you know, I still have locks. But wearing my natural hair has been all that I know. But as I opened my salon and spoke to different clients that wear braids, that's telling me, Lorraine, I have to take these braids out. I have a job interview. Or Lorraine, I have to cut my locks down because my job says too long. And the recent one was.
And again, this is okay. If you're going to a job where if you're working in food service, I would say that, yeah, they probably want you to cut your hair down. Or if you're a job working at an issue where machinery is involved, this is a safety issue. This is not, beyond just the optics of it. This could be a safety issue. And beyond that, I'm sorry. If you're an employer, you're allowed to have standards of hygiene that you can impress on your employees. I mean, remember the Simpsons episode where Mr. Burns made Don Mattingly shave his mutton chops? He kept saying his hair was too long, and he made him shave his entire head off, and they were still too long. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to have professional standards. So Pennsylvania now is overturning professional standards and individual private business ownership choices on how you want your employees to be hired and represent themselves. This is idiotic. I'm not even going to play the rest of this video. It's so stupid I can't play it. Although, Shapiro, the governor there, is like, this is what freedom's about. I love that I froze on this chick with her wide open eyes. This is ridiculous. You have to be able, as an employer, to tell your employees, no, I don't want to have you wear your shit that's going to get in other people's food or wear it where it looks ridiculous or off-putting. I mean, we're talking about any hairstyle now. They call it their crowns, right? Which is annoying enough. You've seen some of the hairstyles. I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I'm bald. Do you know how much I've been discriminated against because I'm bald? With people just subconsciously going, bald guy. Yes, we're not going to hire him for our modeling campaign. This man's probably not the best guy. He'd be a good candidate for hats. Get the fuck out of here with this shit. It's insane. If you walk in and your hair is 17 different colors and looks like turds, like Carrot Top, by the way, a notable white man who just Google Carrot Top right now. He looks disgusting. It honestly looks like multicolored dog shit is attached to his head. It's horrible. If Carrot Top walks in to Starbucks and goes, hey, I want to work here. I'm Carrot Top. They're going to go, get the fuck out of here, turd head. It's awful. You can't just pass legislation because, oh, it's a perceived discrimination. One out of how many thousand people experiences this? And now you have put all of these employers in a position where they cannot in good faith fire or regulate employees if they decide that they want to go wackadoo with their hair. I mean, I'm not allowed to show up. I'm a bald man. Let's say I want to get some sort of bizarre head tattoo on the top of my skull. Is my employer allowed to say, nope, you're fired because I don't want our clients interacting with the guy who's got a massive head tattoo? Let's say it's Sauron from Lord of the Rings. Let's say I've got Sauron's eye on top of my head. You're allowed to be like, nope, unacceptable. Put a hat on, cover it up, clip it, whatever you do, get it removed. You have to have that ability. We cannot be in a society where every employer has to simply accept and deal with the dumbest options that are on the table. And these people that are talking, they look like perfectly normal haired people to me. No, I mean, white people don't typically walk around going, well, I can't wait to see what kind of black hairdos are out there today. Typically, you don't give a shit. And this act, by the way, I would say is directly correlated to Michelle Obama going out there and whining about somehow there's white hair standards that black women have to adhere to. No, you don't. It's 2025. If anything, you're encouraged to do the opposite of what white people like. It seems to be the thing that's paying these days. So get out of here with this crap. Spend your time on something better. Just idiotic. Okay. Next. Something very humorous I found is that Canada, talking about, she's talking about her native hair, her natural locks, and all that good stuff. Well, Canada has long had a affinity for, let's say, well, the left has an affinity for making the indigenous people's plight out to be the most important thing in the world. And of course, when you do that, you're going to have people that take advantage of it. Like Elizabeth Warren here in the United States said she was of Native American ancestry. She's not. She took advantage of it. First Native American professor at Harvard, right? What a joke. So these other people have done the same. Like this guy, celebrated author Thomas King, expect a firestorm as he reveals he's not indigenous. Because just like Elizabeth Warren, he believed his father was Cherokee, and he had written a very, very famous novel that I guess everybody in Canada held up. Buffy St. Marie. Apparently, she's also not an indigenous, despite claiming it. Michelle Latimer is in an identity crisis because there's impossible questions being raised. This is like, it goes, and Cabinet Minister Randy Boissonnault, it sounds like a Native American name, apologized over indigenous identity claims. This is the classic example of when you set up an opportunity for people to grift, when you set up an incentive program that you're not allowed to question, right? Because you were simply not allowed to question anybody's heritage. It's just like if you say you're disabled, right? If you claim disability, no one's allowed to question it. No one's allowed to doubt you. If you allege racism, no one's allowed to question or doubt it because you'd be a racist if you doubted it. This is what's going on in Canada. All these scandals around indigenous people have been disproved, by the way. There was some scandal where a church had, they found all these graves. Oh, no, it was a school. It's a children's school. And they said, oh, my God, we found all these indigenous graves. This school had just been murdering indigenous children and burying them. That never happened. Never happened. Complete nonsense. And yet you still have this push for indigenous is better. Indigenous is great. Just like we have in the United States, like as if these people were perfect, pristine, like they'd founded Atlantis and that was the sunken city, right? The perfect city that sunk somehow. I'm sorry, they were no better than anybody. They got conquered. That's a fact. Just like everybody throughout history has been conquered, by the way, at some place, at some point, some time. Everyone was conquered because that's the way the world worked at some point in time. I'm sorry, it doesn't make you some sort of superhero to identify as indigenous, except to the left, where it is worth buco dollars. It's worth those, what do they call balloonies, right? The Canadian $2 bird bill. Well, bird coin. Loonies for you if you're indigenous. But none of these people are. They're jokes. Okay, so moving on. I'm cracking through this because I have no time to do anything. Next thing I want to talk about, UBI fails again. Let me see how long this video is. 3 minutes, 20 minutes. I'm just going to play this entire video because this is Peter St. Onge, who does a lot of great stuff with economics. So Peter St. Onge is talking about a new UBI study that was done by, I think it was Sam Altman-Fried. He may correct me when I play the video, but I believe it was Sam Altman-Fried, the of course now disgraced AI magnate. All right, let's see. Go ahead, Peter. But this disproves the concept, right? Everybody's talking about how UBI should be considered in the age of AI because people are going to lose their jobs, which is a fact. People will. But the thing is, it's not like it's going to create a generation of artists and scholars and creatives and people that are going to use their time wisely to go out and do something amazing. No, with AI there, you have the world at your fingertips to create whatever crap you want, and you're more enticed to actually sit in stasis. And I've said this about welfare programs in general. People gravitate towards their level of comfort. If their level of comfort, and by the way, and that means without having to try hard. Right? If you have a level of comfort you have to do nothing for, you will gravitate towards that level of comfort. Are there people that are going to go outside that norm? Of course. There's always going to be people that are special, that are driven, that don't accept it. But of course, socialism crushes those people because they work hard and the rest of these people sit around like lumps. The people will gravitate towards their comfort level. I'm just hearing my children yell out there. I'm like, oh my God. So Peter St. Onge, tell us what's going on here, if you'd be so kind.
Another universal basic income trial has failed, doing exactly what you expect. People quit their job to sit on the couch and collect free money, canceling out the free money. In fact, they got worse. Maybe socialism will work this time. The study was funded by OpenAI's Sam Altman and handed 3,000 people $1,000 a month for 3 years. So $36,000 per person total. The cash was no strings attached. They wanted to see what it did to work, health, parenting, and starting businesses. The idea was to test what UBI advocates claim, which is that free money makes people work harder, stop eating junk food, found startups, and I guess read stories to their kids. Shockingly, that's not how it works. In fact, the free money made it worse. They did not start businesses. They did not lose weight. There was zero impact on health. They claimed better parenting, presumably to please the donors, but in fact, their children experienced worse developmental difficulties and did not get better grades or school attendance. In fact, in Illinois, the grades got worse.
I mean, that's shocking, right? People can talk all the crap they want about homeschooling, but people who are opting to homeschool are opting to homeschool because they believe in homeschooling, right? Their children will get a better education. That's incredible because you would think, even if these people aren't applying themselves in their careers, you would think having all this extra time would entice you to be a better parent, to spend more time with your children because you're not having to rush from thing to thing. Like I'm just talking about today, how stressed out I am. And my wife is so stressed out all week trying to balance work, other obligations. And I said, between my job as a publicist, between the Libertarian Party, between Woke Word Wars, which you should all buy, Woke Word Wars, go buy it. Between launching all these things and running all these things, then you've got your children here too. So my God, if I just had my kids and I didn't have to go work hard at my job, or at least one of the 3 other jobs I'm doing on top of raising my kids, I can't believe how much I'd be grateful for that, right? You sit down, you read them a book, you go take them to the park, you spend more time with them instead of sitting and looking at your phone because you're so mentally exhausted after a day of hard labor. Not these people. No, these people got so used to, say it with me, used to being comfortable sitting on their couches, watching television, scrolling their phones, that when their kids come home, they don't stop doing that. You're not driven to do that because also part of being driven as a parent, I would hope that everybody's universally driven to make their kids better, right, than them. But there is an issue in that, and I was talking to a good friend of mine actually this weekend about this. There is a major issue with the parenting in that so many parents are not first generation to college. So they take it for granted. And their kids, they're like, well, whatever, they'll end up in college too. They're not driving their kids to be better than they are, right? Because they had it easy. They went to college, they got loans. Maybe they're not having it easy, but still, they're second, third generation going to college. they figure, whatever, you go to college, you get a job. That's not working out, but these people get a job. They're not driving their kids to be better than them. In fact, they probably think that they're better than their kids in many situations. These people may be the same. But without a job to keep you on schedule, without something to drive you to succeed, to make money, to feed your children, to better your children, I can see how that would bleed away. And that you would just simply go, well, they're home. I don't got to work. The government will take care of them. The government takes care of me. So the government just simply becomes father, mother, caregiver, lover, probably. All right, Peter, what else you got for us? Take it home. We got another minute and a half.
Handouts did not even impact food security or likelihood to be homeless. And the reason was simple. They stopped working. Recipients were 50% more likely to be unemployed. This matters because it's well known that unemployment makes people depressed and suicidal, but also because work is how poor people escape poverty. They get experience, build habits like showing up on time and not drunk. They gain on-the-job skills that earn them the raises that get them out of poverty. In other words, free cash does not help the poor, it bribes them to stay poor.
Bingo.
These results are consistent with dozens of UBI studies, but they keep trying because buying votes from poor people is the holy grail of the left, since long before AI and robots became the fashionable talking point. The idea is backwards. Being poor is a symptom of bad habits, lack of grit and industry. Giving them free cash makes it worse. Moreover, the concept of UBI presupposes that jobs are a bad thing. In fact, not only do jobs give people a sense of purpose, they are fundamental to our social fabric. Because a job is just shorthand for saying you do nice things for strangers and they do nice things in return. So the girl at 7-Eleven is kind enough to make me a sandwich because I am kind enough to pay her rent. Take away the jobs, and strangers don't do anything for each other. Society becomes atoms bouncing around, or more likely, atoms sleeping on the couch. So it's next brought to you by.
All right. That's enough of Peter, but good stuff there. He absolutely nails it in every possible way. I mean, I didn't know he was going to say what he was going to say right after I did, but it's obvious. The outcome's obvious. And by the way, another beautiful, bald, intelligent man who has clearly been discriminated against. And hey, John James, 1494. Yes, I know. How do you arrest somebody for hair discrimination? Yes, and I do wonder if it's a felony or not. It's clear what happens when people have no incentive to work. It happens time and time again. It's insane that these people somehow think that the pattern will not repeat itself, especially in an age where you don't even have to be creative anymore to be quote unquote creative because of AI. Because of, and look, you don't even have to go make money or try to make money or pretend to make money to impress women anymore. Because think about the man sitting around with UBI money who doesn't have to work, who gets his subsistence paid for by the government and his rent paid for by the government, living on a meager means, watching television, scrolling the internet, talking to his chatbot AI girlfriend. So he doesn't have to impress her for shit, except that they ask him for an upgrade to maybe see some digital titties. This is how society ends. It's funny. There's a Futurama episode, which used to be a great show before it went ultra woke because Matt Groening's a fucking asshole. And the people that apparently checked him must have died and passed on. Sam Simon, I think, died of cancer. I guess he was the voice of reason. But there's a great episode about Fry, the lead character, dating a robot and how it was basically forbidden. And they made all these videos in sex class about how you couldn't do that because there is no incentive. And they showed, all of humanity's achievements, economy, majesty, creativity, industry. And then it shows, and even people dating same-sex robots, and the drama crumbles. Hilarious joke you can't get away with today. But the point resounded then, and it still resounds now. There's no way in hell that you can make this work. It's simply going to be slugabouts, happy to sit on their ass, being drains on society. And especially in our society now, where we know how many people simply get by on coming to the country and subsisting on welfare and take advantage of the system. I mean, sorry, these are better teeth, but still not the real teeth I'm going to have. For those of you who didn't know, I punched my own tooth out. Killed some of last week's episode. I punched my own tooth out, and I decided to get my other teeth fixed that were also broken from youth. And these are temporary gorgeous teeth, but they're still not quite right. So it's interesting trying to get used to them and talk. But you've got these people that are taking advantage of the system as is. If you had UBI and you have basically, mass immigration, open borders, welfare, good night. Where do you think our ridiculous budget's going to go to then? And who's going to make it up? Because you've got no one manufacturing anymore since you're doing UBI. Yeah, AI can do some of that, but who's going to service the AI? Who's going to sell the AI? Who's going to be, who's going to be the people that are coming up with ways in which to make that AI better, smarter, faster, and also limit its ability to murder us if everybody's sitting on their ass collecting UBI? It's fucking ridiculous. Okay, last thing we will talk about, guys, is just one to end on to end this show today is that I'm working on a project that'll debut after Thanksgiving for the Libertarian Party, a messaging concept. And basically, it's just the fact that we are seeing so much of what we give a shit about. And this is one of the things that libertarians fight with and have problems with, and I think cause a lot of burnout, is you fight so hard and we focus so hard on national issues like the debt and the war state and the regulatory body that holds us down and the IRS. These are things that need to be addressed, but that are monoliths that take a long time to take down. What I think we need to focus on and be reminded of is the potency of local community action and how important community is. And hey, it's Thanksgiving, guys. I hope that you're enjoying it with friends and family, which the government has tried to divide up, right? This is by intent. The government goes out of its way to try to break up family units. This is the welfare state in a nutshell and the over-policing state. To break up family units, to divide communities, right? The emphasis on climate change and white nationalism and white extremism and, and pitting people against each other in the dumbest possible ways because they want you to stop talking to each other. And liberals have fully bought into that concept. They want to break you up because your check on reality and your most important reality, for being honest, is your local community, your friends and your neighbors. These are people that you should depend on, that you should know well, in-depthly, that you should forgive for small things, that you should hold accountable for big things, and who you should, above all, be in communication with and also talk to about what do you want to do with your life, with your community? What do you want your children to grow up in? What kind of environment? What do you want your schools to teach? What do you want your community focused on as far as group projects? If they want to do cleanups, if they want to, if you want to build a park in your community, go for it. Build a park in your community. If you want to deregulate fireworks so you can have a big blowout, balls to the walls fire to display on 4th of July, do it. If you want to, legalize whitewater rafting in your street, do it along with your community. The point is, community is being lost as people focus on these big issues that are shoved down our throat, that are re-emphasized on social media. You don't have control over them. What you do have control over is how you act with your neighbors, how you act with your friends, how you act with your community, and what impact you can do, what positive force you can be in that community. And that then can be extended into local action through your government. And yes, we all know that big government's terrible, but let's not joke ourselves. Local government is always going to exist in some form. You're always going to have a town council. You're always going to have some tribal elders. You're always going to have a communal group that agrees on things because you have to coexist as a society. So make that your focus. Prove to people that you can change the world. Prove to people that you can coexist, and then take that and make it bigger and bigger and bigger. Because the more you change your local environment to suit everyone's best interests, the more you can get along, the better we're going to be. Because those people, next time a big thing comes along that you want to talk to them about, like the IRS, like the big beautiful bill, like making Thomas Massey's Prime Act, making local meat distributors be able to distribute far more effectively, far more efficiently, and go across state lines and break these cartelizations of the meat industry. Guess what? They're not going to look at you like an asshole because you're the guy that helped get the merry-go-round fixed and got the stairs put in and got the hiking trail built. And you're the guy that's bringing people together. So you're somebody they should take seriously. And you don't get that from yelling at the clouds. You get that from talking to people about what they give a shit about. All right. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Thank you for watching. I'm shocked that we have as many people watching as we did today. Don't forget Woke Word Wars. You can get on Amazon. Woke Word Wars. It's great. Promise you, you will love it. It's a great gift. It's a fun party game. It's $35. It's not expensive. Get one and then write a 5-star review. And of course, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. All right. From me, Brian McWilliams from the Lions Liberty Network, from Woke Word Wars and Mean Age Daydream. Keep those electric guns on me, babe. Keep that ray gun to my head. And have a fantastic Thanksgiving, everybody. I'll see you next week.